All right. So a bit of a change of scenery. This is only the second video I will have uploaded. So to me it's different because I've made several videos before this, all in the same setting of being in my truck after work in some parking lot with terrible lighting. So rather than that, I'm in my home, my beautiful home. It's Friday morning, and it's a beautiful, very windy spring day. And you'll hear probably a lot of outdoors sounds, a lot of wind noise. I'm gonna put something kind of in front of the speaker to hopefully deflect some of that. Because I have my back screen door open. And in the tradition of just not really caring about quality, I'm sure the audio will be rough because of those things, as well as the fact that I can tell my phone, the front lens on my phone has so many scratches on it. I don't use a case on my phone, and even if I did, I think the case would be, the screen protector would be scratched there too. So I can see that there's a lot of diffusion going on, probably from the scratches that are directly over the lens part. But I'm making these mostly to be listened to rather than watched, because that's what I do with YouTube mostly. But anyway, the reason for the change in scenery is, so today my wife is actually out of town. And so I have the house to myself, which is both a blessing and a curse. I want to talk mostly about distractions, especially as you get older. Distractions can come in so many forms, but when you get older, the distractions can come from things that are legitimate. They're legitimate concerns and things that need addressing. So, for example, my wife's out of town, which means that it's up to me to take care of our dog, take care of the plants. She has a garden that she's planning on. She has a couple of raised bed gardens, and she starts most of the seedlings inside. So we have like a grow light and a whole rack full of sprouting seeds right now that are kind of in a delicate position. So it's up to me to make sure that they're watered appropriately and make sure that the light is on for the appropriate amount of time. And nothing major, just little things. And I'm blessed that, well, I don't know if I'm blessed, I could call it blessed. I'm thankful that I don't have kids, because it would definitely be up to me to take care of them, and there's just no way I would get any studying done. So there are legitimate distractions that need tending to. In the morning, when I get up, I normally am the one who takes the dog out anyway, but I gotta walk him too, because he needs his exercise. And so that's, automatically taking some time away from my studying, but as well as the fact of I can't really leave the house. I could, but he's already going to be in the crate for about 9 hours while I'm at work. Now, normally he's allowed to kind of just wander the house, and I don't feel so bad about leaving him alone for that period of time, but he recently had surgery on his leg, and he can't really be trusted to just walk around, because if he tries to get up on the couch or on the bed or something, he could tear that injury again. So we have to keep him crated. So, not wanting to just leave him crated for 16 hours in a day, I'm home and I'm attempting to studying at the dining table. And as you see, I've actually got like a whiteboard here. This is actually glass, but it's a glass dry erase board, which is nice. It makes studying from home a little bit easier, because one of the things that I like about having a whiteboard at school or studying in a classroom is that I can stand up and do problems on a board, which is great for when you're tired and you just need to stand up and do problems. But again, the distractions just flood from all around. Your brain, when you're trying to study, especially a subject that you don't really want to study, but you kind of have to, it can be extremely difficult to focus to begin with. Given a perfect situation, let's say a quiet, secluded library with somebody who will shoot you in the head if you don't study. It's still difficult to study under those circumstances. It's still difficult to focus when you have a perfect scenario, because you don't want to. And it's not that I don't necessarily, I do enjoy calculus, and the more I do with it, the better I get, the more I enjoy it. You'll hear my dog perhaps growling in the corner. Mailman's making his rounds. Almost immediately forget exactly what I was talking about. But anyway, I do enjoy calculus a good bit, but do I want to study calculus? No. I'd much rather do so many different things with my time. And being at home really exacerbates that. Because for example, I'm sitting here at the kitchen table, and I got a phone call earlier from a friend that I had to answer. And as I'm walking around the house, I'm just seeing all the little repairs that need done. You know, about 9-10 months ago, we got some ceiling cracks repaired in our living room, and I'm looking up at the corners of that repair and seeing that the drywall is the drywall mud that they use is flaking off of the tape, and it looks pretty bad. The cracks are coming back, which I knew was a possibility, but the fact that the plaster or drywall mud is also peeling off and leaving just gross looking textures up there, it bothers me. And then I see that the baseboards here have pretty good gaps in them and need fixing. You know, there's a lot of just, it's not nothing major, but lots of little things, especially with drywall. In an older, kind of cheaper made house. This is a house made in I think this house was built in 2001, which was about the time that they were like building houses for suburbs and stuff really quickly and really cheaply. So I don't think they did a great job with the drywall work. So there's a lot of things that just need maintenance and repair. And obviously I paid somebody to do that repair, and it's not ideal. And I know I could do a better job for much cheaper. So I'm sitting here contemplating, do I call them and have them come fix this? You know, they did mention that it would crack again, but I didn't think it would be that fast or that bad. I know that I could repair it and it last at least a few years as opposed to less than a year. And I'm just sitting here thinking about like all of the little things that I gotta do. And it's difficult because I'm also confronted with the fact that I have a test on Monday that I have to study for. And I figured if there was a day that I could take a little bit of extra time to kind of maybe look into what it would take to do some of these repairs and stuff, today might be a good day for it. But it's really not. There's really no good time for it. The only good time to do anything is after the semester is finished, especially during the summer when I'm taking a single summer course, microeconomics, which shouldn't be too terribly difficult as compared to calculus. That'll be a great time to do stuff like that, but right now is not the time. And yet we're confronted with all of life's little distractions, whether it be the house or taxes need to be filed or doctor's appointments need made. There's all sorts of little things that can come at you that are legitimate, that are things that actually do need to be addressed. It's just they shouldn't be, they need to take a back seat in order to do well in school. And it's such a difficult thing to juggle. And I think it was one of the things that I took for granted when I was younger and I was first going to school, was that I was in rented housing. I was in a dorm for a while, and things like repairs and stuff, those weren't up to me. And now they are. And I'm forced with the decision to just kind of let things linger and hopefully not deteriorate too bad until I have the time to repair them. One of the things that's helped me deal with this kind of distraction is to keep a little 3x5 note card, which is actually underneath the cup that's keeping my phone held up, so I'm not going to grab that. But it's a little 3x5 note card like this, and I just keep it blank and I set it next to me while I'm studying. And anytime I have something like that where I took a look at the ceiling crack, I took a moment to kind of refresh myself on like, what does it take to actually repair something like that? And I watched a couple YouTube videos, nothing major. I took about 10 minutes to do that. And I felt a little better about it. But what I realized is if I do that for each and every little thing that comes into my brain, I will spend all day thinking about the things that I need to do rather than actually doing them. And also not studying, which is the thing that I need to be actually doing right now. So I keep this little note card and I write down, okay, I need to call back the drywall company that did this repair and just ask them, hey, can you come take a look at this and let me know what it would take to repair this? And they may even come and look at it and say, oh, well, we'll take care of that. That's our, that's our bad. We'll take care of it. And then it's not even my problem. But either way, it's I don't know, and it's not something I should be dealing with right now. So I wrote down, call the drywall guy. I wrote that down, and I set it to the side, and it's almost like you're putting your troubles down on a slip of paper and setting it aside for later, physically. And it kind of helps your brain actually dissociate from that problem. And what I'll find is by the end of a study session, I'll have 5 or 6 things on an index card. For example, today it's that drywall. I gotta take a look. There's a fan in my bathroom which doesn't work. I need to figure out how to fix that. I just need to replace it. I need to change the oil in one of our cars. Just little things that just come into my brain, and they come into my brain really easily when I'm at home, which is one of the reasons I try not to study at home. And I want to talk about that for a minute before I close out. But so I write down all these little things, and by the end of a study session, really my only goal for today was to finish my homework for the week. That way I can head into tomorrow, Saturday, and Sunday and have nothing left to do other than just review for the test. And I've accomplished that goal, so that's why I'm making this video, and I'm actually going over that. I was going over that note card, and then I set it under that mug, and now I can't look at it. But I'm looking at these things, and I'm like, okay, well, that's not this car we're not driving right now. and it's a car that we use when we go on road trips, so it really isn't going to get used for another month while I'm still finishing this class. So that doesn't need to be done right now. And then as far as the drywall crack goes, it looks bad, but it only looks bad if you look up. So it's not really a major issue. Now, could I call them and set up an appointment? Yes, and that would probably make me feel a whole lot better because it makes me feel like I actually did something about it. So I might do that. So already at a 50% there as far as things that actually are important and need to be taken care of. And then, I just went down the list and said, this isn't important. This isn't important. This is slightly important, but it really shouldn't be dealt with right now. All they need to do is send a text to somebody about, just different things like that. And I realized that these things, they only bother you when your brain is just looking for something else to latch onto other than the difficult work that you have in front of you. It's the same thing when I'm working out. I'll be doing whatever, kettlebell swings or what's it called, where you lift it up, you snatch it, and you push up. Those are extremely difficult, and I hate doing them. And the whole time I do them, I think, man, there's so many things I gotta do, and I could be doing it now instead of this thing. But what I realize is my morning routine only takes about half an hour to 45 minutes. It's not that much time. The things that need taken care of are the kinds of things that take like an entire weekend to really grapple with. To fix something like that ceiling would take a weekend to deal with, because you gather tools, you realize you need something else, you run to Home Depot, you come back, you realize you need a different thing. It's not something that you can just take in pieces. It's the kind of thing you should focus on. And right now, focus needs to be dedicated to study. So the note card is one way of taking care of that. I call it just basically like a blank slate full of troubles. And during a study session, I might need one of these. But what I found is that when I'm in my third place, so to speak, when I'm in the library or I'm at school in an empty classroom, I don't need the note card so much, because I'm not sitting here confronted with all of the things that are within my control or within my purview. It's similar to when I'm trying to study during my lunch break at work. It can be kind of tough to study when I look around. I'm like, there's all this other stuff that needs to be taken care of. You need to find a third place to study. Like you need water to live and air to breathe, because you need to be able to get away to a place where the only thing under your control are the books and papers that are right in front of you. And I even recommend leaving, what I will do, especially when I'm particularly distracted or I'm studying something that's particularly difficult, I will leave all of my electronics in my car. Please don't try to find my car and steal them. They're not worth very much. I will leave everything, and I will even leave my wallet in my car, because what I've found is, especially like if I'm in a place with a vending machine, just having food nearby is extremely distracting. So here I am in the worst possible environment. I'm in my home, and this is the exact opposite of what I think is appropriate for studying. Everything in this house is under my control. I own it. If something is broken, it's up to me to fix it, or to at least find somebody that can fix it. There's also a fridge full of food right there, and anytime I get a little bit hungry, I walk over there and just open the door and take a look. It's the worst. And then, when my wife is home, she's also a distraction, because I want to spend time with her. I don't want to be spending time with alternating series estimations, which, by the way, is what I'm studying today. We've spent a lot of time studying all the series tests, ending with the alternating series test, and there was one question on the homework about estimation. It was something that we didn't go over in class, and it's super easy. It's very easy to do, but I had to figure out how to do it, and I really didn't want to. And so it took me over an hour and a half to do one problem on it because I just didn't want to do it. But I muddled my way through it, even in this distracting environment. So find a place where nothing is under your control except for yourself and your books. It's super critical to find that, and it can be difficult. I live in a smaller town, so the community college, especially on Saturdays and Sundays, is not an ideal place to study because it's closed. During the week, it's great. There's a library there, which is fine, but they also have this common area where people are relatively quiet. There's a math center, which unfortunately I know almost everybody that visits the math center every day, which makes it not an ideal place to study because I want to talk to them instead of study. And so what I found is I found a table that's near the math center that I'll set up. And what's great about it is it's a tall table that has a tall stool to sit at. And so when I start to get tired, instead of sitting down, I will stand up at that desk and work. That's during the week, but then during the weekends, the school closes at 1, and then it's up to me to figure out where to study. Our local library, so I'll usually drive over to our local library and study there until they close at 6. And then on Sundays, I'm having to study here because there's nothing really open on Sundays other than Starbucks, which I don't love. And it's also not a very conducive place to study. It's quite busy, quite loud. There is a library at a local school that I could go to, but it's just far enough away that on Sundays I'm usually just reviewing anyway, and I try to stick around. I try to get up early enough that I can study before my wife's awake. That's actually a great way to study, is early in the morning, because then those distractions are less of a problem. I don't know why that is. So finding that place to study. And the other thing too is I found that even though it sucks that I don't have a consistent place that I can study at, we have an office here at my house, but my wife uses it to work from home. So during the week I can't use it at all, and on the weekends she's here, and there's distractions. So it's not an ideal place to study. But what I've found is that by having to move location to location to location, I never really get too tired. I never get stuck in too much of a rut. So actually, I think there is some value in hopping from place to place to place to place. Maybe studying 2 to 3 hours in one coffee shop and then moving to another. Or maybe starting your day in the coffee shop and then going to the library and then finishing up at I don't know where. Depends on where you're at. There's a local bar here that I've actually been tempted to go and try to study at. And if it's not busy some night, I might go and ask the bartender, hey, would it be okay if I bought a couple drinks, if I just sat in this corner, brought my books out and did some studying? And maybe they'd be okay with that, and maybe they wouldn't. I don't know. But finding different spots to alternate and walk around and be able to be able to alternate between walking around and sitting down is also ideal, so that you can stand up when you need to if you're tired. Let me think. There was another thing that I wanted to say. So the biggest takeaway from this conversation is obviously about finding your ideal environment to study. But one of the things that, especially as an older person with responsibilities and family, is this can be very taxing mentally to be away from your home all the time. I'm here to sleep. I'm here for about an hour and a half in the morning, and I've probably spend about 45 minutes before I go to bed at night, just getting ready for the morning. And that hour and a half in the morning is getting ready for the day as well as working out. And so it's very difficult to be away for that much time, but it is possible, it's feasible, it's been done for centuries. the way I look at it is it's a whole lot better than being deployed for the military. You still get to go home and you get to sleep in the same bed as your wife. You get to see your home, your pets, your children, whatever it may be. So there's benefits to that. What, as compared to somebody who is doing something as difficult as being away from their home for months at a time. And I view my semesters as kind of like a deployment. My duty is to study and to do as well as I can in these classes in order to gain the knowledge and skills necessary to advance our lives forward, to get a more comfortable career, to make a little bit more money, to make my life and my wife's life a little bit better. But most importantly, I think it's incumbent upon most people to learn as much as they possibly can, especially while they're younger. I'm not old, but I'm definitely older, being in my mid-30s. I don't think I could put this much effort in my 40s. And I think I might even have a harder time in my 50s. I think it's important always to learn as much as possible, but especially while you're younger, if you can push to learn as much as possible, I think that there's more to it than just making more money or getting the degree to get a certain job. There's more to it. I haven't really put my finger on it. But there's something that deep inside of me knows that it's important for me to actually do the best that I can. And so for now, what drives me forward is, hey, I want to get out of working on my feet for 9 to 10 hours a day. I don't mind it, but I know that over the long haul, the people that do this for a long period of time, they have a lot of issues. So I don't want to do that forever. And I want to be able to provide a more comfortable living situation for us. I want to be able to, when my friends are having a hard time, I want to be able to be able to help them out. We don't want kids in particular, but if nieces or nephews need things, we want to be able to help cover that, especially as we get older. We don't need a lot, but we'd like to make more than we are now. So that helps drive me forward, but there's got to be more to it. And the more to it that I've found for now is that engineering is difficult, but I have the ability to do it. I have the interest to keep me going. And there are a lot of questions that I have about the world that I think can be solved by the education that I'm getting as an engineer. And I see openings and roles in places where I can be a real asset to different places. But I need the qualifications and I need the knowledge. So finding a bit of an altruistic way of justifying the time spent away from home will help a lot, but also making that time is so difficult but important, making that time to spend with your family. So for me, on Saturday nights, after the library closes at 6, I come home and I spend the time with my wife. On Saturday nights it's chores. We've got yard work. Right now at 6 p.m. it's still light out, so I usually run outside and mow the lawn real quick and then come back inside. We'll do our meal prep for the week, stuff like that. And then on Sundays, I try to study up until till noon and cut it off and spend the rest of the day with her. Now this is feasible because I'm only taking this one class. Is it going to be feasible going forward? I don't know. Last semester when I was taking Calc 1 and Chemistry 1, it wouldn't have been possible to do that. I only had Sunday nights really to spend with her, but I still made that time. So I would say that it may delay your progress as far as expediency, the speed at which you get through the degree, but maybe take a reduced load so that you can spend that time. I would rather it take me 10 years to get through this and still have a good relationship with my wife than to get done in 4 and have no one to come home to. So anyway, it's a bit of a rant, but the key takeaway, like I said, is finding your time, finding your place away from home to study, making that time to come home and spend it not studying, but with quality time with the people that you love. So, and I feel like finding that third place to go study makes it so that when you do come home on that Saturday night or that Sunday, you can put the books down and know that, hey, I have done my absolute best. I used all of my time efficiently, and I made the most of every minute of my studying. And if I can't take 6 to 8 hours on a Sunday, 5-6 hours on a Saturday, if I can't take that time to spend with my family, what am I doing? What am I doing this for? So that's where I'm at right now. Like I said, I have a test on Monday to study for. I didn't get a lot done today at home, but I got this video done, so that's something. And there's 1 month left in the semester, and then I've got a whole summer of taking care of all these little things at home. And I hope to be able to someday be able to study here again, but it's not an ideal scenario right now with all of the little repairs that need done. You know, maybe if those were fixed, I'd have a little bit of an easier time spending time here, but I kind of doubt that. So anyway, if you're out there and you're trying to make it through engineering or any sort of schooling, and you're an older person like me and you're having a difficult time, I hope this can help. I hope that there's at least some commiseration, and if there's any advice that you could share or that you need, feel free to reach out. Thanks.